this James, brother of Jesus, is not only so important, but he's just completely become unknown. How could it be that everybody knows Peter and Paul just like household names, but if you say James, they say James who? So something is going on. And I'm going to give you my theory as to why I think that happened. It's probably not going to surprise you, because it also is why John the Baptist was muted, and it's partly why Mary was muted, and Mary Magdalene. So there's something going on.
Why were the Gospels written? I mean, what do you think the motivation for writing those Gospels, or at least the
it's obvious. It's obvious. To subvert the Messianic movement in Palestine. Messianic. So you have a Messianic movement in Palestine, totally the opposite of the Greco-Hellenistic, Romanized, Paulinized movement that you get in the Gospels. And the Jesus in the Gospels is created in the image of Pauline literature and Pauline argumentation.
For hundreds of years, Jewish martyrs had died to observe the Jewish law.
James is essentially echoing and affirming what he had learned and passed on from his brother Jesus, who had in turn learned and heard from John the Baptizer. For James, the Christian message is not the person of Jesus, but the message that Jesus proclaimed.
That I consider most of Paul's letters authentic, and in the letter to the Galatians, Paul actually does what the Gospels and the Roman literature usually doesn't even do, or Acts, that is. He says James is the brother of Jesus, and he's sent up to see James, the brother of Jesus, in Jerusalem, who's the leader of the movement. And the climax comes in Acts 21:21. When Paul meets James and comes up to Jerusalem, and you see James is the leader of the early church, and Paul has to do what James says.
Jesus had been heralded as King of Israel and was in fact executed for this claim before he could formally assume the Davidic throne. James, Jude, and the Q source stand as witness to an original version of the Christian faith that takes us back to Jesus himself. That the suffering of the righteous, even the suffering and death of a Messiah, could be one's lot. John had been beheaded. Jesus had been crucified. Many of Israel's leaders in past times had died violent deaths at the hands of wicked enemies.
The disciples said to Jesus, "We know that you're going to leave us. Who will be our leader?" Jesus replied to them, "No matter where you are, you're to go to James the Just, for whose sake heaven and earth came into being."
It's because at the end I say, who and whatever James was, so was Jesus.
They chose James the Just as overseer of Jerusalem.
James the Just is recorded to have been the first elected to the throne of the oversight of the church in Jerusalem.
The succession of the church passed to James, the brother of the Lord.
Yaakov HaSadik, James the Just.
A lot of what was known about John the Baptist in the first century has been lost because it was not convenient for Christianity to remember too much. There are little clues here and there about what John was really up to.